What is up, beautiful people? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Wednesday. Happy hump day. It's June 12th. Hope you're doing awesome. And in this video, we're going to bring up the Tilray brands chart. We're going to take a look at some technicals, what to expect in terms of the price action in the days, weeks, months ahead. There is a bear flag that is on the chart, and spoiler alert, we do have a target of 155 USD. I'll bring up what we need to see, and I'll give some other reasoning on why we could potentially see some downside from here, but it isn't looking good, and we could expect one more leg down and a little bit more weakness in the short to medium term here as we head into the end of July in the comment period for rescheduling. And I do think that we're going to see Florida approve. So the end of the year is looking really, really promising. It's just we have some turbulence ahead here. And then there's some other news that I want to bring up with regards to Tilray. And they're starting to revamp their website, I noticed. So we're going to discuss all that and more. Before we get to it, though, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. Also, you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. And just in case we ever get silenced here on YouTube, I see tons of people and content creators that are getting their channels shut down. Just in case they ever decide to censor our channel or shut us down, you can follow us there so we can maintain a constant flow of communication. Also, speaking of X, I did post, you probably saw a couple of videos I posted in the last couple of days. I talk about companies reaching blue chip status. I asked Grok's AI, so X's AI, and then I also asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT was very outdated in my opinion. They said the last update was January 2022, and then I did my own list here. So let me know if you agree with this, disagree with it. Pow Group list of MJ companies likely to reach blue chip status. I put Tilray, Cureleaf, Green Thumb, High Tide, SNDL, Organigram, Canopy Growth in that order, and then honorable mentions to Trulieve, Cresco, Village Farms, and Kronos. And then I just posted a video as well about High Tide. High Tide versus LPs. A lot of people were commenting on my post saying that, High Tide is way better than all of these other companies. So I just posted a video about and mentioned that topic was, is High Tide better than LPs essentially? And in that group, I put Tilray, SNDL, Canopy Growth, right? And you have to remember that you're not comparing apples to apples, right? The big takeaway here is High Tide is a retailer, not a producer, and producers pay excise taxes, right? And about 1/3 of the revenue for producers goes towards excise taxes. So you can't really compare High Tide to a producer. It's kind of silly. It doesn't even really make any sense. But, High Tide said that they might be looking to get into the producing aspect of the business. So again, check out that video. We also have High Tide earnings coming up tomorrow after market close. So a lot of eyes will be on that going into tomorrow, and I'll be doing a review of those earnings as well. So there was some news out today from Tilray Brands. Like I said, they are revamping their website. So if you go on their website, they are changing it a little bit. So the whole look and feel is a lot different, but I'm not really a huge fan of it so far. Hopefully they continue to renovate it, but yeah, it's okay. I'd say it's probably better than what they had before, but yeah, definitely needs a little bit more touching up. But this was the news article here, Embrace the Spirit of Summer and Create Shareable Moments with Good Supply MJ. So they talk about brand new multi-pack pre-rolls, Twisted Vapes, Juiced-infused pre-rolls, and Monster-infused pre-rolls. So there's some news if you want to check out that entire article. And the reason why I had Tilray at number one, a lot of people were asking me why I have it at number one. The reason why is because Tilray is number one in Canada, number one in Germany. Germany's looking to fast track Pillar 2. We know they're set to potentially acquire U.S. assets, potentially MedMen through their bankruptcy filings. And then, they just had a $250 million ATM. And, tons of people hate that, but, it's not profitable yet. We need to expect dilution. There could still be further dilution. Look at GameStop. GME just raised $2 billion and issued 75 million shares. And the GME cult and tribal investors, they love it. They can't get enough of it. It's like, oh, let's bet hundreds of millions of dollars on calls, right? And then it just raised through dilution 75 million shares, issued 75 million and raised 2 billion, but yet retail loves that, right? Just because one guy, Roaring Kitty, seems to like it, right? But at the end of the day, companies go public to tap the public markets and raise money, right? So we need to accept it for what it is. Tilray's not looking at a year or two from now. They're looking at 10, 20 years out, right? They're looking at long term. So at the end of the day, not a big deal. And like I said, having that accretive addition and that acquisition for potential U.S. assets to kind of follow in the footsteps of a Canopy or an SNDL or an Organogram, which we know they've been really starting to ramp up their exposure. Similar move on Canopy. They raised $250 million at ATM, and then they're looking at potential assets. And then they're set to acquire acreage here through exercising their options. And it could happen probably the beginning of 2025, where we see Canopy become an MSO essentially, right, through that special purpose vehicle and exchangeable share structure. Also, Yahoo Finance reported on Monday, June 10th, that down 8.29% in 4 weeks. Here's why Tilray Brands is ripe for a turnaround. So again, when mainstream media says something, that doesn't mean that it's usually the opposite, right? So if Tilray said that on Monday, here we are down even more. So that was on Monday. So from the close there, we were down like another, nominal amount, another percent or so, but it's looking like we could see more downside. Unfortunately, I wish I had better news, but it is what it is. And I'm just saying what the charts are saying and seeing what I'm seeing in the charts. We have our high, we have our low, we have our lower high, very weak bounce, didn't even get above the 0.236. So anything under the 0.32 fib there at $1.95 was a potential daily bear flag. And we did confirm it by breaking the low there at 178. We hit the new low at 173. And essentially just take your measured move from the high to the low, move it out to your 0.32 fib. And it's saying we're targeting about $1.55 there USD on the NASDAQ for Tilray. So we could be heading to daily oversold. There's a ton of other bear flags in the sector as well. MSOS, if we take a look at the daily time frame, it was a bear flag as well. So if you're only invested in Tilray and you're only looking at Tilray, you're not getting the bigger picture, right? This is why we need to look at other leaders in the space, which MSOS tracks all of the US major producers. So if you're not looking at MSOS, you're at, basically your hands are tied behind your back, or you're running with a blindfold on because you're not really seeing what the state of the market is, right, in the sector. And speaking of the market, the S&P 500 is busting to new all-time highs today, right? We have big tech, big crypto, like a lot of crypto, big tech names, AI, all busting. And I don't think MJ is going to really benefit and enter a new bull market until big tech and until crypto sees its final blow-off top moment, which could be coming over the next few months, right, into the end of the year here. Maybe it spills over into Q1 of 2025, but I wouldn't expect much more after that. And then it's more than likely going to enter a multi-year bear market, and I think MJ will be a big beneficiary and could potentially enter a multi-year bull market after that. If SPY drops 10-15% in a day, right, the S&P 500, well, obviously MJ is going to drop significantly, but it should rebound quicker and could outperform a lot of these tech names and crypto names, which is what I'm banking on. And you have to call it for what it is, right? I have more dollar value in crypto, right? I have more money invested dollar-wise into crypto than I do MJ, and that is because crypto's in a bull market, MJ's in a bear market, right? And knowing what an uptrend is and a downtrend is, knowing what a bull and a bear cycle and market is, right? You need to call it for what it is. And my plan, I see a lot of people that are wanting to rotate their MJ profits into crypto. Like, we're at the tail end of this crypto bull run, right? Like, we maybe got 6 to 8 months left, I would say. A year max. I'm not thinking it's going to be a year. I think it's probably going to be somewhere around that 6 to 8 month mark. But maybe it could be as little as 3 months, right? 3 to 6 months. I think somewhere around that 6 months is a sweet spot to expect for the rest of crypto. So why would you want to switch MJ into crypto when crypto's been in a bull market since March of 2020, really? And MJ's been in a bear market for the last 3+ years, right? So in my opinion, I'm looking to do the opposite. I'm looking to rotate my crypto profits into more beaten down MJ, right? And then keeping money on the side, I made sure that I had, a lot of dry powder to buy the dip. And just calling it for what it is, right? And calling a spade a spade. And at the end of the day, MJ isn't going anywhere. We have tons of catalysts. We have Florida potentially. We have New Hampshire, the 25th state. We have Ohio coming online. We have Pennsylvania. We have Germany looking to fast track Pillar 2. MJ banking more than likely going to happen after rescheduling, and then uplisting to the NASDAQ looks imminent. And that's more than likely going to have to happen after rescheduling. And I think rescheduling is definitely going to happen. Like, I put it at like a 90+% probability, as close to 100% as possible, really, because it has to get done before the elections, or it's just a political death sentence to those that supported it and that were put in power because of it, right? So in my opinion, that has to happen. And then we're going to probably get a rate cut. We didn't get one today. FOMC interest rate decision was unchanged as expected. It was like a 97% chance that, basically the data was saying a 97% chance that they pause and they don't do anything, and that's exactly what happened. But I think, it could happen July next month in the FOMC meeting next month, but I think the most likely scenario is we get the cut in September, but we need to be ready for a surprise. I'd probably put, July, maybe a 25% chance that we get a rate cut then. but I'm going to say 75% in September. Today, they said that Jerome Powell said that inflation was still too high and only expecting one cut this year. So like I said, I think we should get a cut before the elections. Again, similar to rescheduling. If it doesn't happen before the elections, it's going to be a political death sentence. Like, they have to get something done. And once usually they cut rates, that's usually a bad sign for the market long term. Not short term. Usually we see more momentum to the upside and one final blow off top moment, and then a brutal prolonged bear market, right? So we need to be aware of that. And Congress being banned from owning stocks will be more than likely shortly after that. So like I said, we just need to be real with ourselves, right? As much as I want these MJ stocks to go up yesterday, just like everybody else, that's just not what the charts are showing. And we also had a bear cross of the stochastic and the MACD closing below the 10-week moving average. So again, on the longer term time frames, not looking too hot. We're below all of the weekly moving averages on Tilray, and we're below all of the daily moving averages. We were gearing up for another golden cross, but we failed that attempt. So let's see what happens here, but it's looking like we could potentially see another leg down. And again, if the S&P 500 is at all-time highs, what happens if SPY pulls back to 520 or 500 for a healthy correction, right? MJ's not set up well at all. So I would put the odds of Tilray hitting $1.55 at a pretty high probability rate at this point, because the fact that we're struggling when the market's at all-time highs. What if we see a correction, right? It's definitely not set up well, and then we don't have the comment period over until July 22nd for rescheduling. And then, Ohio just coming online. Florida more than likely going to get approved, in my opinion. 66% of respondents saying they would vote in favor of, as per a new Fox Business poll. So it's looking great into the end of the year. We just have to be a little bit more patient. And, at the end of the day, we've waited over 3 years, almost 4 years now, in this brutal bear market since the highs of February 2021. What's another 6 to 12 months, even a couple of years from now, right? We just have to be patient, see it for what it is. It's only going to happen once. We're early. And again, being diversified, not just having all your eggs in one basket and one MJ stock in one sector, be diversified. That's why, again, I always preach having, diversification. I'm diversified. I have more crypto dollar-wise than I do MJ, but that'll soon change, right? Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, smash like, share it with your network. If you think I earned it today and you think somebody might benefit from it, always appreciate you tuning in. Love each and every one of you supporting me along the way, and I'm excited for the end of the year here. But hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you again on the next video.